Normally I'm really into like fully brewing coffee in the morning, but lately I've just been wanting to get it done. So I'm just using this concentrate. It also helps because I only have like 2 gallons of water left, which I'm gonna have to get today or tomorrow. And this just allows me to procrastinate that a little longer. So today's going to be a busier day in the life. I realized this morning when I woke up, hence the procrastination, that I actually have a lot to get done. It's Sunday, which means I just had a video go up this morning. So one of the first things on the agenda is to actually hop on YouTube and be there with you guys, responding to comments, answering your questions. But then I also need to finish cleaning because I got started with that and then didn't finish. I have a lot of stuff to put away and organize because later this week Tara and I are going on a really exciting backcountry trip that I've wanted to do for a long time. I'm not sure how the weather's gonna hold. Honestly, it's been kind of dreary and rainy every day, and they've been getting some storms in the mountains, so we're gonna have to keep an eye on that. But I just want to be ready in case the weather does turn out to be okay, so we can grab our bags and go. So yeah, some planning, some packing, some working, a lot of cleaning, and it's a pretty dreary day, so it's a good time to do it, I think, because we're not missing a bunch of like spectacular outdoor time. Alright, so first things first, I desperately need to get permits. The loop that we're doing, I will actually be taking you guys on. I'm not going to say where it is first because when you see this, I will probably be just kind of getting out or getting off of the trail, but it will be in the next video or the video after, so you will get to come along. Honestly, so excited because this is the first trip like this that Tara and I will have gone on in almost 2 years, which is pretty insane. The first month I had her, I'd already had a backpacking trip planned in Catalina, and unfortunately I didn't post anything about the trip, but she did great even though she was only 5 months old, so I carried her a lot of the way. But I'm just excited that we get to go on more trips like this now that she's a little bit older, a lot more independent, and is going to be able to walk and actually keep up. So I'm open to whatever happens. We might have to come back. That's the reality of hiking with a dog, is that we're going to go at her pace. But getting these permits was the first part. And all of this would not be possible without you all being here and the support of today's sponsor, Bluetti. Now, it's not news to anyone who's been here for a while, but I am absolutely obsessed with my Bluetti charging systems. This AC180 is actually my third one, and it's the biggest and best one yet, in my opinion, for a multitude of reasons, which I'm about to get into. Similar to other Bluetti models, their life cycles, warranty, and just that feeling, that peace of mind that I have when using their systems has far outweighed any other system or company that I've tried before. And because of that, I know that I can rely on my Bluetti day to day to not only power my work, but also activities like this, when I'm charging Garmin's, charging cameras, a GoPro, a gimbal, my main camera, my phone. That's a lot of stress to put on a camper system, especially on days like today where it's a little overcast and I'm not getting quite as much input from my solar up top on my roof as I normally would. And for those times that I decide to stay at camp and not drive around, which means I won't be able to charge it off of my car outlet, I love to use my new PV200 solar panel. The Bluetti is actually capable of taking an input of up to 500 watts of solar, but even with the 200 watt panel, I can usually recharge my Bluetti in 4.5 to 5 hours. Now, if you had 500, you could do that in as little as 2.8 hours. Pretty crazy. For even faster charging, you can plug your Bluetti into your car or a standard 110 outlet and watch your charging power soar. And regardless of how you decide to recharge, rest assured that you can monitor it all through the Bluetti app and Bluetooth. To learn more about the AC180 and PV200 systems and what they might do for your next off-grid adventure, head to the link in my description down below to score $25 off through the end of August using my discount code. And let's get back to the video. Man, I hate to be this person. I don't know if you can hear Tara growling and doors closing, but we've been out here for about 2 days. Haven't seen a single person. We've been going for walks and runs. There are tons of open sites right around us. And of course, someone just decided to pull up right next to us. So, slight change of plans. I think we're gonna leave. So much love for gas stations like this that have potable water just right outside. You ask them and they so nicely just say, yeah, for sure, go get water. I always try to buy gas or something at places like this too, just because I want to say thank you. But yeah, shout out to Sinclair. Where are we? Okay, it's officially late afternoon, which means that the wind has picked up, even though it was a beautiful day like an hour ago. So I think instead of taking you guys outside to go through my pack, I'm gonna make dinner first. There's still plenty of daylight left, so hopefully we'll get to it tonight, but if not, tomorrow morning. What I'm about to say sounds very silly even in my mind, but I'm about to open my awning for the second time ever, because the first time it was in maybe 10-mile-an-hour winds and it nearly took me out. So let's see if this slight breeze makes it any easier. Okay, the fact that what you just saw actually went way better than the first time is kind of embarrassing, but we have an awning. I have outdoor lights now, and it's honestly the perfect night because I didn't get half of the stuff that I thought I was gonna get done tonight done. So this just extended my time by at least a couple of hours. Alright you guys, let's talk backpacking gear in a review that no one asked for but that I would have liked to have when I first started out. So the first thing is my backpack, and this is the GOSSAMER Gear G420 I believe, G420, and it's roughly 36 liters. This, I'm honestly a little bit hesitant to bring with Tara, considering I'm gonna have to carry some of her gear as well. But since she recently got her own backpack, which I'll show in a little while, I feel a little bit better because I'm really just gonna be carrying my gear and maybe a little bit of her food and some extra water. Next up is my NEMO tensor. So this is an insulated sleeping pad. It does inflate. It also has its fair share of, gosh, what's it called? Like gear tape on it because I have popped some holes in it. But generally speaking, this has been incredible, all the way into the like 20s and low freezing temperatures. I will also be carrying this NEMO switchback, and this is essentially going to fold out to be Tara's sleeping pad at night. So she has a little bit of insulation and some coverage as well. Next up is the GOSSAMER Gear 2. Now this is my tent, and it is specifically my dog camping tent. I have my own for when I go solo by myself. This, on the other hand, is a trekking pole supported tent, which means that this is really the whole thing. It's super flexible. There are no poles in here because, again, it's supported by my trekking poles. Now normally I would show my sleeping bag next, but that's actually what I'm sleeping with in the camper right now because cotton bed sheets just don't make any sense. And that's the REI MAGMA 20-degree quilt. I absolutely love it. Right now I'm sleeping with it kind of just tossed over myself because obviously I don't need a 20-degree quilt in the summertime in the camper, but I will be packing that with us as well. Thankfully, the area that we're going in doesn't require bear canisters, but I will be bringing this like bear Kevlar sack. And essentially what this does, actually I'll probably bring this one, the smaller one. This Kevlar sack is going to allow me to tie up our food into a tree. So I'll have some paracord that accompanies this to make sure that critters, more so than bears even, like chipmunks, mice, small squirrels, those sorts of things, don't get to our food so we can stay out longer. Moving on to some of the smaller items, this is something that most people actually don't carry, I found, and this is my AEROS pillow from Sea to Summit. By the way, none of this is sponsored. I just wish that I would have had exact products to reference when people talked about them, which is why I'm mentioning specifically what I use. But this pillow has been a game changer, I'd say, in comfort at night, which after a long day on the trail is really nice to have. Instead of curling up with my down jacket or something rolled into a bag, I just get to inflate my pillow. So I will probably always bring this with me. All right, for my cooking setup, I have this MSR pocket rocket. You can see it just folds down into this little canister. I actually don't carry the canister with me when I'm backpacking because this is the entire item. I don't know, like beauty influencer, if you guys can see this, but very small, as you can see. And then I also carry a very miniature Bic lighter to light it because my piezo lighter is broken. Next up are my Katadyn or Katahdin, however you want to say them, bee-free little filtration bags. Normally I would just bring one and then a life straw bottle, but because it's Tara and I think I'm gonna actually bring both of them because it'll just allow for some quicker water fill-ups. And who doesn't love talking about poop? So this is my little trowel. This is a deuce number 2. I also actually have the deuce number 3. This is nice, but it's honestly just really big and green, so I'll probably bring this one because it fits in one of my outer pockets on my backpack. And you guessed it, this is for digging dirt to make sure that you can cover up your waste properly. One of my new favorite items is this tiny little headlamp, which I learned a very important lesson with on my trip down in Patagonia. But this can clip to the brim of your hat. It can be held in your hand and is actually surprisingly bright, which you guys will see in the video of our trip. But what I messed up on last time was not charging it frequently. And unfortunately, after a night spent sick in my tent and multiple nights prior to that of regular use, this died on our last day, which meant that I had to hike in the dark for almost 3 hours. So this time around, not only will I be hitting the trail with this fully charged, but I'm also going to be making sure that it stays charged every night with my GOALZERO small little battery pack. Now this I just picked up from REI. It's nothing fancy. I would in the future like to upgrade to a night core, which is a much lighter and higher capacity battery, like external pack charger. But for this trip and for trips that we have going in the future, future that are just a couple of nights, this does the trick. So as I mentioned, Tara in the past, not as her adult self, but as her puppy self, has ripped many a hole in my tent. So these are actually mesh repair kits. I almost always carry at least one with me, just to make sure if it's an especially buggy night and something happens, we have a defense mechanism, since I don't usually carry bug spray. And in addition to that mesh repair kit, I also carry tenacious tape with me. I won't be bringing this whole roll, but this is the whole roll that I own. I will bring this with me just to make sure that if I puncture my sleeping pad, if my down jacket rips, something like that, this does an excellent job at patching that up and making sure that we stay inflated and comfortable throughout our trip. Something kind of silly that you guys might laugh at, but I don't wear an Apple Watch or a Garmin on my backpacking trips, but I do like to be able to keep track of time without constantly having to grab my phone. So I always wear a Timex watch. This I actually bought prior to the Colorado trip, and it was a luxury item that I didn't know I would love so much, but I now never backpack without it. Alright, I'm not gonna extend this just because YouTube regulations, but I always carry either a Swiss Army or a small buck knife with me. This is not for things like self-defense. This is really just to cut things like paracord, my tenacious tape, other small things that might need to be cut open, like a dehydrated food bag that I can't get open with my hands on the trip. Now, in addition to all of the items that I just mentioned, I'm also going to be carrying a first aid kit. I will bring some paracord with me, which in this case is going to be a lovely lime green color, and that's mainly for hanging up things like our food bag, and could also be used in some kind of very specialized emergency situations that I'm not going to cover today. And then I'll also be carrying some accessory items for Tara, like her food and water bowls, which are awesome. I actually just got these at TJ Maxx for like $3, and they just collapse and inflate like this, so I can very easily attach them with a carabiner to my pack, or I can put them in her new pack, which is just a pack from Roughwear. It has these really nice large pockets in it that even have some dividers, which I was not expecting. I am not going to push her to carry very much weight this trip. I'm thinking I might just start out with like 1 or 2 days worth of her food, which at most would be a pound or two. She's almost a 70-pound dog, and so generally the rule of thumb is that they can carry between 10 and 20% of their body weight. But because this is her first trip wearing a pack since she's been older, I'm going to start super minimal, and honestly might even end up just letting her wear the pack this time around to make sure that she's comfortable and that I'm not stressing her out too much to begin. All of this gear will be linked down below. I forget what the name of the website is, but I'll have it very clearly labeled in the description. I have gear lists for my camera gear and now for the backpacking gear that we're going to be carrying with us this summer. And so if you have any questions about what or why I choose the gear that I do, go ahead and drop it in the comments down below, and I'll be happy to chat with you guys down there. And most of all, be sure to stay tuned for next week's video, when I'm going to be not only showing you guys how I use all of these things, but also taking you along on the backpacking trip that we're heading out on.
Then slip the loop over your Lillian and pull the line tight up against your knot.
I feel like this is one of those things that's supposed to be really simple, but then they like don't tell you that your Lillian, which I'm assuming is this thing that they just referred to, is supposed to have a knot at the end of it, which mine did not. Guys, this is not going well. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just learning how to even set up a pole, let alone fish. But the goal, oh god, the goal is hopefully to be able to catch some fish, especially in the backcountry later this summer. Oh god. But I obviously have a lot to learn before then. I am in the forest, so I'm not going to tie line to it, but let's see what this looks like all strung out. Part of the reason I wanted to start with Tenkara is just because of the size. You guys can probably see this is like when collapsed. Very tiny. So I can hopefully bring it backpacking with me. But it does extend out to 10.5 feet apparently. So we are just going to try that. Because, you know, as silly as I feel doing this in camp, I would feel even sillier doing this on a river. Oh my goodness. Look at how big that is. It's crazy. This, like I said, I know nothing. This is the Sierra rod though, and it's supposedly a beginner-friendly rod from Tenkara. But apparently you can catch fish that are in the like 10 to 16 inch realm pretty easily, which I don't think I will be catching anytime soon. But it's just exciting to have a very simple backcountry setup that hopefully I will be able to take out in a variety of conditions. Since I don't live in one area, I'm not gonna recreate in one area. So I wanted something that was versatile, which I think this will be. Yeah, it's just fun to try it out. I've been watching a lot of videos on like how to hold this. I'm very excited. And essentially I'm just gonna let this go. It's just like a little, I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's like throwing me back to my childhood. Anyways, I won't bore you. I'm very excited, but maybe you guys aren't. And yeah, this is how tiny it is. So I think it's like, I don't know, maybe 18 inches. And it comes in a little carbon tube or this soft like stuff sack that I'll be able to put into my backpacking kit once I actually know what I'm doing. I'm not bringing it this trip just because that feels wasteful. If I got a fish on, I don't even know what to do with it yet. So more to learn still before I actually use this, but over the next couple weeks, that's my goal, is get into the backcountry and then get onto the river to try my rod for the first time. I had plans this evening to record more, but I feel like I already talked enough in this video, so I'll just wrap it up with some nice still images from our evening spent relaxing in the hammock and watching the sun go down. And before I go, I just want to say thank you all so much for your love on the most recent video and your continued support. I'll see you next week.